briefly about goals and method of how we're going to kind of approach the next few classes. So if you have in your book, page 1 of this part of it, I guess...
Yes, in the sections.
Yeah, and Theological Foundations is what I'm calling it. But some goals, let me just run through these real quick. By God's grace, I'm really hoping that you guys will grow in your understanding of sort of God's overarching purposes in creation and redemption. There's something very big happening, right? It's not about us. It doesn't start with us. It really starts with God, and He's up to something. And, let's try to understand that. And as we understand that, then hopefully we can understand how we fit into it, rather than the other way around, which I think is often how we approach things, right? So, and then maybe, we'll have a good understanding, too, of how other people fit into it. I hope that we also can grow in how health and medicine plays into this bigger thing that God is doing, and how we can participate in that. And especially as we, look at underserved communities around Philadelphia. I'm from Philadelphia. I don't know how many great-grandfathers back before the stadium was built, he was in the Neck. He was from the Neck, which is the poor Irish section of Philadelphia. And, I say, Dad, where's our family from? Because we're Irish and German. And he says, we're from the Neck, right? So, poor Irish South Philadelphia, way back. So I love this city. I love this city, and I hope that you will learn to love this city as well. And then also I hope we can grow in our understanding of our futures in healthcare, as healthcare providers, and the important roles that these play as healthcare providers. Hopefully we can apply that understanding even beginning now, kind of living in community, and then, reaching out. We're reaching out in word and deed to the surrounding neighborhoods of North Philadelphia, and hopefully we can begin to live out and develop this stuff for the rest of our lives. Ultimately, my hope is not to in any way tell you this is what to do. My hope is to plant seeds and give a framework that you will think about and remember and develop the rest of your life. Because I think God is very creative. I think you are very creative because you're in His image. And it's amazing when people start really asking God and really thinking about what does God want to do with all this stuff that I do, or all this stuff that I'm learning. He really is good at doing some cool stuff. All right, so what we're going to look at is creation. Then we're going to look at creation again, because I think it's just worth spending some time there. A lot of times people start with Genesis 3, the fall. Isn't this world going to hell? And, we better save it. But the story doesn't begin there. It starts with creation. So we're going to spend some time looking at that. And then we're going to look at the fall, redemption, which is recreation. And ultimately, we're going to look at where's this whole thing that God is doing? Where's it heading? We call it eschatology. And can help me with that word. Eschatology, right? The eschaton. Where is this thing going? And what we discover in our Bibles is it's going to the New Jerusalem. Interestingly, it starts in a garden, it ends in the Holy City. So we're going to look at some of that. Any questions? You guys can ask them. Actually, this is going to be real interactive once we get rolling. Today, not as much, because honestly, like I say, it's helpful, it's interactive, right? But I want to give you a lot tonight, so we're going to not do as much. So basically the method, we're going to do inductive, a mix of inductive, deductive, and discussion. If you guys know what those terms mean, we'll figure it out. We're going to start that tomorrow night. Tonight it'll be mostly deductive and discussion. All right, so let's start, right? We're going to look at Genesis 1 tonight. Before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about these bigger purposes of God. And I don't know if anybody's going to be able to see this. You guys might be seeing, you might have some trouble. And Luke, but I'm interested in here, which kind of helps it stabilize it. So we're going to look at God's mission and method. Okay, we're going to start with that. God's mission. What's God's mission? And I think a lot of times what we hear from preachers, especially from, doing evangelism, what we hear is people saving others from hell. Right? Is God's mission to save people from hell? Is God's mission to save people to heaven? Is God's mission, where did I write these things down? To convert people? Is it to save people to a trouble-free life? You know, their health and wealth gospels, right? Name it, claim it. You know, come to Jesus. You know, all your problems will go away. Is God's mission to save people from sins? We call that justification. Is His mission to help people, show people in any other way, aid people in becoming better people? We call that sanctification. Are these God's mission? Not by themselves anyway, right? What would you say God's mission is? Here's going to become the discussion, interactive part. Yeah, thank you for jumping in, because that'll help roll things. All right, Sherry Ann, thanks.
To redeem man to himself.
To redeem man to himself, okay? All right, who else? What's God's mission?
Live in community.
Living in community? What does that mean? Just in terms of who are the subjects in this community, or who are the actors?
So God Himself is in community with Himself,
Okay.
and then man.
Okay. So God and man. Who else? What else? Yeah.
Bear His image.
I'm sorry?
Bear His image.
Bear His image. Yeah, that's a good guess, right? No, you're right. Bear His image. I'm saying you wouldn't have said that. You would have said that anyway. I know you would have, but especially since we read it. That's an excellent answer. How do you spell that? Bear image. Yeah. And Lindsay, is that Lindsay?
Us created to be glorified.
To be glorified?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else? Vernon to say something? And these are all. Yeah. Go on, Ann.
Restoration, but I see that's the redemption. Restoration is probably close to what Sherry Ann said. Redeem man himself.
Yeah. I mean, these are all great answers. Right? And I think they're all getting at the heart of things. I mean, I think a lot of times what happens in evangelism is it falls terribly short. Right? We're going to save people from hell, or save them to heaven. But there's a bigger picture, all right, and that's what I hope to unpack over these next 6 classes. You know, I didn't think about erasing this. Thanks.
Some extras.
So all right, for God's mission, a passage that I think is very helpful comes from Habakkuk 2:14, and for those people who, when they were kids, had to speed through and find verses, maybe they can find this, and we'll read it. Habakkuk 2:14, and it might be familiar to many of you, even though Habakkuk is probably not familiar to any of us. 14, yeah. Do you have it? Yeah, do you want to read it, Rachel? Real loud, please.
For as the waters fill the sea, the earth will be filled with an awareness of the glory of the Lord.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, I think somebody over here, Lindsay, did you say glory to God? Yeah, I think, it starts with God. God's kind of up there, and He's God. He's pretty impressive. He's glorious. And the thing about glory is like the sunlight. It can't kind of be contained, right? It just has to go out. And I think God's purpose in creation is just that, to fill the earth with the knowledge of the glory of God. I think that's his mission ultimately. Like the waters cover the sea, He wants to fill the earth. So His method. Let's talk about His method. And for this, we're going to jump into Genesis 1. Genesis 1 actually reveals, I think, His mission as well. But let's really look at it here. If I can ask you, it'd be real helpful actually if you're able to read the next lesson's chapter before coming. So Thursday it'll be Genesis 2. If you get a chance to read that between now and then, that'd be great. Tonight, a lot of what we'll do is maybe even spend a few minutes giving you a chance to read it on your own and process it on your own for maybe like 10 minutes at the beginning. and then we'll begin discussion on it. Tonight we're not going to be able to do that, unfortunately. But I do want to assign some passages from Genesis 1 to different people, and what I need is 6 groups. So why don't this table over here, since there's only 4 of you, why don't you guys read Genesis 1, 3 to 5. Let me split you guys in half. The 4 on that end, you guys read Genesis 1, 6 to 8, and you 3 on this end, 9 to 13. This table can read 14 to 19. And then you guys split into 2. The front half can read 20 to 23, and the back half 24 to 28. Everybody got their... You don't have to worry about everybody else, just your own. Everybody got their own? We need to talk about for 2 seconds with your table and come up with the 1 or 2 word answer for what did God create in your day. I separated these.